What do you think it is about the Joker as a character that I guess has such a hold on viewers' imaginations?
I think it's the idea that, quite frankly, he's such an unreliable narrator that you're never sure what is really real and what isn't. I think it's that he represents kind of lawlessness and mayhem. I think it's his attitude of not really, there's nothing he really wants. There's a freedom to Joker that I think he represents. Yes, he's ultimately bad, and certainly in our movie he is bad, but there maybe is that freedom that people sort of look at.
I guess maybe people project part of themselves onto him, or there's something that, in some ways, as awful as he is, in some ways he seems liberated, and I think that that's attractive. You know, compared to Arthur, who's so withdrawn and feels insecure and inadequate and wound tightly and is constantly suppressing his emotions, Joker doesn't suppress anything. And it's just a complete liberation. And I think that's maybe that's appealing to people, because we probably suppress so much. I think there's something kind of tantalizing about a person that lives outside of the accepted norms.
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do. And people are starting to notice.
You think this is funny? Is this a joke to you?
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
Comic book films have become a genre. You know, the way there was comedy and horror and romantic comedy and whatever. Suddenly in the last 15 years, comic book movie is a new genre. And you go, okay, if there's gonna be a genre, they don't have to be the same thing and done the same way. Not that they are, but we could go really in a different direction and do maybe a deep dive character study into a villain and really approach it differently and make something that feels really grounded and hopefully realistic.
What was your first reaction to telling this story through a character this iconic?
I was stunned by the script. I thought it was an original and brilliant work that was challenging. It wasn't only to be challenging for me as an actor, but it was challenging to an audience. I always say that it feels like it's an interactive movie because it doesn't tell the audience precisely what to feel. It seems like everybody has a different reaction to the character, and I love making movies like that.
I think the main appeal was that it was a different take on a comic book movie, right. That it would, you know, maybe cut through the fog a little bit of these other kinds of these movies, and stand on its own. And I think a little bit of fear of like taking something on that's that iconic. Not so much about living in the shadow of the people who've done it before, which have all been great, but just this idea of the expectations that people have coming into a movie called Joker.
You lost a lot of weight for this, and I'm not interested in the specifics necessarily.
Great.
That's tough and terrible. But I'm just wondering, did that physical transformation change your process at all? Like, did that make your approach to this film more instinctual, less instinctive?
I don't know. Of course, it has quite an impact on you. It is intense. But I don't know precisely in what way it affected things. But you know, the physical transformations are a part of kind of the emotional. They kind of lend themselves to the emotional state, the mental state. They start affecting you in a certain way, and that's what I wanted out of it more than anything. As much as the look is important, it also affects your mood and your personality. I mean, you're literally hungry all the time, and I think that kind of gives it something.
Finding kind of the Joker's left. Arthur is afflicted with a neurological condition, and it manifests in a very specific way. How difficult, I guess, was that process of finding how that was going to be?
Yeah, there were times, honestly, where it was a struggle. It didn't feel like it. It felt kind of like an emotional scene, like a crying scene that you can't really fake it. And so there were times, sometimes by the fifth take, we're going, I can't do this anymore. I feel like I'm forcing it now. And so we just have to take a break and try to find it again.
Gotham has lost its way. What kind of coward would do something that cold-blooded? Someone who hides behind a mask.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.